Tonight's on deck with Evil Dead chick. What's in store when you open the door? Step inside, my little ones. Bring your flashlight and good luck charms. Oh, and good luck charms. Oh. Might get dark. It might get scary. Maybe even a little insane. Crawl out from under the bed. Don't be afraid. Evil Dead Chick is here to entertain and thrill. Dead Eyes on deck with Evil Dead Chick. Let's hang out till the sun comes up.
Howdy, gang, and welcome to yet another childhood nightmares. Been a little bit since I had one of these. I think the last one I did, Steve was on here with me, and it was not a watch along, but we were talking about Toby Hooper's mini series for Salem's Lot because Steve had some stories that I thought would be good to share. For our childhood nightmares. But tonight we're having another watch along. The first childhood nightmares was a watch along for Don't Go to Sleep. Tonight we're going to be doing a watch along for Cassandra, a 1987 Australian slasher film that the trailer, and I put a link in the chat for the trailer in case you wanted to check out the trailer that kind of gave me some goosebumps when I was a kid. Seeing it on a VHS tape for prom night as one of the previews. Now, this was meant to be a film that was released to theaters, but it did not ultimately end up going to theaters. It went straight to video. I think it would have been good in theaters. I don't know all the specifics of why it didn't get released to theaters ultimately, but decent little slasher film. A lot of it is formulaic of most slasher films of that time period. We were, the slasher film was starting to wane a little bit by 1987, 88. However, I think this one is a worthy entry. It still gives me the shivers in some spots. It has a particularly creepy kid in it. So we'll see what you guys and gals think about that. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, gee, Dana, I've looked all over and I cannot find this film. Okay, I've tried to do y'all a solid. I don't see anybody in here right now, so I don't know if anybody's going to be watching along with me as I watch this. I know Dead Pit has a Friday Night Live or a Friday Night Lives tonight. So I totally understand that people, either can't be here for the whole thing or can't be in here for it at all. But perhaps you can watch it on the replay if you don't get to watch it live. But if I do have any people come in here as I am watching Cassandra, um, I do have a link in the description for the video um, that you can go there. You can, and I tell you what to click on to download the movie so you can watch it on your own. It will take a few minutes to download depending on your internet speed. So hopefully those of you that had planned on watching along with me have already downloaded it. But if you haven't and you come in here and you want to download it from the link I provided, you may do so. And then if you need to get up to speed to where I'm at, please ask me for a timestamp. I'll be glad to give it to you. Because if you are watching it through that download link, you will be watching the same version I'm watching. Okay. So we should be able to get synced up pretty well. Now, there may not be subtitles on it, but if you're watching it from the comfort of your own home, you're not live on the stream with me, you can have the sound as loud as you want it. So you will be able to hear all the dialogue. Me, on the other hand, I've seen it enough that I know what the dialogue is, but I do not have subtitles on this version, but that's okay. But I just wanted to remind everybody, no watch alongs this weekend. We've still got polls up for the following weekend's watch alongs. Plus, I will be having an Evil Dead Chicks Slasher Fest double feature and also celebrating my birthday because the next Evil Dead Chicks Slasher Fest will be on my birthday, June the 6th. And we're going to be watching The Burning and Bloody Birthday in particular in honor of my birthday. So if you want to hang out for the second Evil Dead Chicks Slasher Fest and help me celebrate my birthday, my 49th birthday, you are welcome to do so. The polls we've got up for the next group of watch alongs, there was a tie between Grease and I believe Meatballs. So y'all get on in there and get your votes in. Try to break that tie. Otherwise, I'm going to have to flip a coin or put some titles in a hat and pull one out. And I would rather leave it in the hands of you guys and gals to pick the watch along choices. But in the event that I have to do a tiebreaker, I will be, glad to do so. Hopefully in the next week, I will have more Dick's Picks, more Cannon Fodder, more They're All Messed Up. Me and Candace may have another Friday Foolish. We shall see how things go as far as our schedules and stuff like that. And I guess that's all for the updates, other than because this is a live stream, you can participate in Movie Roulette. And here's how you can play. If you give a $5 or more super chat during any live stream I do, that includes this one. It is a watch along, but it's also a live stream. You can pick any movie of your choosing for me to watch and do a review over. It can be any film, any genre. It could be something, even something I said I've hated in the past. Who knows? I may watch it and I may decide that I like it now, right? Also, be sure to check out deadicesondeck.com, my horror shop. Tell them Post sent you. And we've got some new designs up there. I'm soon going to be putting some new designs up. The Poe plushie's going to make an appearance. All of that good stuff. So I've seen people popping in and out. Maybe I'll have somebody come and hang out with me. Remember, you can download the movie through the link I have in the description for this live stream. Um, and you can ask me for a timestamp after you downloaded it if you come in late, and I'll be glad to provide that for you. Okay, so I am going to, in case somebody maybe is in here and I'm not seeing them, um, I'll give you guys a minute or two to get queued up. I'm at the 0 marker at the very beginning of this video, and that's where we're going to start here in a little bit. Oh, a little note, I'm trying out a new feature in StreamYard where you show the comments on stage, and you can see where I put a little comment there at the bottom. I don't know how well y'all can see these comments. I can't see it very good through the StreamYard uh, end of it. However, you may be able to see it pretty well on YouTube, or if you're watching this on your TV, you might be able to see it better. We're going to try this out. I've seen this a few times here lately when I've been getting on here and doing streams, but I was kind of hesitant to try it, but I thought I'd try it tonight. That is, as long as people don't abuse it. Okay. Because sometimes during Friday Foolish, for instance, somebody was putting a bunch of nonsense stuff in there. And I don't know if they were wanting me to read it off and it was going to sound like something that I shouldn't be saying if I read it off. But it just looked like gobbledygook. It looked like nonsense to me. So I let them do about 3 or 4 of those, and I didn't respond to them. I just banned them and deleted their comments. So as long as nobody's putting anything nasty or derogatory towards anybody else or just putting nonsense, I may continue to do this. And that will be good in case, I forget to click on somebody's comment and put it up on the screen. Some people like a little running chat going over here in the corner. All right. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get this movie started. I'm going to do the countdown and then we're going to get the party started. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, press play. And we're off and running. Parallel Films presents. And what got me thinking about this movie, again, in the first place, was Shane Bryant's name popped up there early for those of you that are watching along. And Shane Bryant was in Lady Chatterley's Lover, which I watched for a recent episode of Cannon Fodder. And I was like, I know that guy. I know that guy. And then I was like, I think he's the guy that's on Cassandra. And we're seeing the title up there. And like I said, this was a very creepy trailer. I saw it several times before I actually got to see the movie. And the Australian people, the Aussie people, actually were putting out some pretty good horror films back in the day. Next of Kin, I think, was one, too. We're seeing someone look through pictures here, and we're really not sure why they're burning up some of these pictures at this point. It's like somebody's wanting to forget about some things, but they're going to hide pictures. I've never seen a drawer quite like that that has like a hidden compartment in it. So now we're seeing, in this first part of the film, which turns out to be a nightmare that Cass or Cassandra is having, is one of the creepiest parts of the film, because you are seeing a little girl throwing stones into the water, and you're seeing a woman drive. And I believe that Tess Humphreys, who plays Cassandra also plays the character of Jill here, who seems to be telling children or a child to stay there. And we're going to see more and more of these, what turn out to be flashbacks. But yeah, I think Tess Humphreys plays both Cassandra and the character of Jill here. And these images are just so creepy and dark and very chilling, because you start to get a pretty good idea what the character of Jill is going to do here. And if you didn't know, it becomes very apparent very quickly. You see the little boy there, that creepy little boy who's telling Jill to do it. Very stark, very frightening imagery. And then we get the modern day cast, because these appear to be Cassandra's memories. Um, and we see her mother come into the room. So we find out that Cassandra's father um, is a photographer, like a fashion photographer. And there's Shane Bryant, who plays her father in this. So this is the character of Graham, who is going to be her father's assistant. But we see Cassandra's kind of, I guess, wary of Graham. And the model there is Libby. So we see that the grown Cassandra is at that spot where the little girl, who we come to find out is the child version of Cassandra, and she's tossing stones into the water just like she was as a child. We're going to soon find out that this family, Cassandra's family, has a lot of secrets. They're slowly going to come out throughout the course of this movie. So we see that Cassandra's mother there is very worried about Cassandra. And while her father, although he appears to love Cassandra, is kind of aloof or oblivious to what's going on with Cassandra, the mother seems a lot more concerned. So we're seeing the flashbacks to the creepy little boy, Jill killing herself, and Who Killed Cock Robin, which is a song that very creepy. I mean, the song Who Killed Cock Robin is creepy anyway. Um, but within the context of this movie, the killer, when they kill certain people, will put on pictures Who Killed Cock Robin. And that's going to make a lot more sense by the final part of the movie. So this is Cassandra's friend. Who she tells her, she confides in him quite a bit about her fears and stuff. I'm sorry, folks. There's something about that that guy that's her friend that is very intense. Something in his eyes there. Sorry about that. Got choked all of a sudden. So Cassandra's mother will periodically tell Cassandra, it's just a nightmare. It's just a dream cast. But as the movie goes on, like I said, Cassandra's family's going to have a lot of secrets, some of them very dark secrets. So, Cassandra, excuse me, has found one of the hidden pictures of Jill. And it's a picture she apparently has not ever seen before, and that someone's hidden away. So Cass has arrived at her father's house, I believe, to give him his car keys back because she had borrowed his car. And she's not expecting to see her father and Libby, the model, together, because she was under the impression that her mother and her father were, you know, pretty happy together. But it seems that her father is having an affair. And Libby here is telling him that she's pregnant. And of course, he's happy about it. And Cassandra, on the other hand, is very unsettled by what she's seen. So we can see that things between Cassandra and Libby are very uncomfortable here, because I'm sure that her father and Libby are unsure of how much Cassandra saw from the window, but they're probably thinking she saw a good bit. So she's brought her father the picture of Jill. So Cassandra wants to know who she is, and her father says it's my sister, and that she died. And I think he tells her that she died in a car accident before Cassandra was born. So Cassandra's, she's upset by the latest development with her father. So she goes once again to visit her friend. And we're slowly going to realize that Cassandra has visions as well. Um, Whether it be, when she's awake or most of the time when she's dreaming. And that she's soon going to be able to see visions of this killer that's slowly killing off people around her. So, gang, I'm going to step away for a couple of minutes. But for those of you that are watching along, please continue to watch along, and I will be right back. All right, gang, I'm back. Sorry about that. So, technically, I think we're going to be coming up on the first kill of the movie, technically, unless you count Jill's suicide as one, which you most certainly can. But, um, and seeing a little bit of skin there. I never could understand. And if you sleep naked, I mean, that's your prerogative. But um, I even tried just sleeping just in my underwear before, and I just can't do it. I'm guessing it feels comfortable for some people to sleep totally in the nude. But I'm not one of those people. Well, we can see that Libby, is, I guess, taking a shower, and then she's in her birthday suit there trying to get some sleep. Uh-oh. And someone has just stabbed poor Libby. And like I said, apparently Cassandra has these visions, albeit through dreams a lot of times, where she sees the deaths of these people. So I think she's desperately trying to get a hold of her father here. So Stephen, Cassandra's father, has arrived home, which you would imagine that apparently her mother and father have a strained relationship because he's got his own beach house. I don't think this is Libby's house. I think this is his beach house. And apparently he just thinks that Libby's asleep. Which this is creepy in and of itself right here. Because he has no idea that she's dead. I think he remarks about how she's cold. And then he sees her slash throat. And how horrifying would that be, for your significant other to come in unawares that the other person is dead and gets into bed with them and even starts kissing on them and then finds out that they have been murdered. Or, even if they not, if they just had a heart attack in their sleep or something, that would be horrifying. And on the picture, I never been able to understand, but of course, I've never been a model either. There's a picture of Libby up there where the killer apparently has written, "Who killed Cock Robin?" So the one of the cops is asking Stephen about the message on the picture, who killed Cock Robin. He's like, I don't have any idea what you're talking about. But as we get nearer to the end of the film, I think he may know more than he's letting on here. So Cassandra's she's having, she's remembering these visions, but she's also hearing her parents talk downstairs. She's getting little snippets of the conversation. She's having visions of Jill killing herself, the creepy little boy, her apparently as a kid. It's gonna become more and more apparent that the little girl is Cassandra. So Cassandra's, asking her mother, "Did you know about Dad and Livy?" And you don't mind, and she's like, "Doesn't it bother you?" And then um, she said, "Don't you love Dad anymore?" And there's a key there. She says, "I love him like a brother, Cass," um, which is going to come into play a little bit later. So she's also telling her mother, there's these awful things in my head, and her mother tries repeatedly to just tell her it's just nightmares, Cass. It's nothing to get worried about or overly concerned about. But you can tell by the way she's looking that she is she is concerned. So Cassandra's talking about a fire and this horrible little boy and a woman who kills herself, and Finally her mother's just like, stop, I don't want to hear any more of this. So, gang, for those of you that are watching along, this is not a very long movie, which is not necessarily why I picked it. But, for these childhood nightmares, I try not to have too long of movies. But we've got less than an hour left of the film. The film moves at a pretty decent pace. It's only an hour and 28 minutes, close enough to an hour and 30 minutes. But like I said, it moves, in my opinion, it moves and flows very well. So the cops are interrogating Cassandra now. I think they may even suspect her of killing Libby. So the cop asked her about the phrase, "Who killed Cock Robin?" So Stephen's going to get a little angry at Graham here, um, for daring to bring up, the subject of Libby's pictures. Um, he's talking about how great she looks and all that, and the poor woman's, just been murdered. So once again, Cassandra is talking to her friend, the friend with the very intense eyes. And it seems that there's almost a romantic relationship that's kind of starting to bloom, between Cassandra and her male friend there. And now he's watching as Cassandra goes down to the water again. I think she's trying to get herself to remember stuff, remember what happened. Hey, Gory Tiger. So we're seeing these flashes of someone appearing to run up to the house, of Jill putting the gun under her chin, of the creepy little boy saying, "Do it." Um, and then a flash of the girl that appears to be Cassandra as a child. And I believe that Cassandra's mother is a fashion designer or clothing designer. So these are very, I always thought these scenes, where somebody's clearly watching her, um, seem, oh, excuse me, very Jallo-esque, in a lot of ways, very stylish. Like I said before, that I think this is a decent slasher film. I don't really think of it as a slow slasher film. I mean, the pace is pretty consistent and moves things along. Um, I don't really think of there being any slow parts in this film because every scene pretty much seems to serve the purpose of moving the plot along. So we're seeing that message again, who killed Cock Robin, on the mirror there, which seems to terrify Cassandra's mother, who ends up calling the police. I also like the way the movie is filmed. It's very well made, filmed very well. Has a lot of atmosphere to it. It almost seems like they're shooting day for night here, because it looked like quite a bit of light was coming through the blinds there. It also appears that the killer is still after her even after she's arrived home. But now the cops are here, and apparently the intruder is gone. And once again, Cassandra is having visions of all this. And now, once again, she's having the visions of the house. Um, and now we're seeing Warren, the evil little boy, throwing rocks into the lake. So we hear Jill talking to Cassandra and holding out her arms to hold her, and then, or, to hug her. And then we see Warren off to himself. So, uh, you know, you've heard of, people being born bad. So apparently, Warren must have been bad from the start, and very little affection, if any, is pointed towards Warren. So Cassandra's got some questions now, and the secrets are starting to come out. And Cassandra confronts her and says, "Who are you? I know you're not my mother." So it turns out that Stephen is not her husband, it's her brother. And that's why, they, you know, didn't sleep in the same bedroom or anything like that, because they're brother and sister. But there's going to be another little wrinkle here, too. Um, and that concerns Jill, who turns out to be Cassandra's real mother. And like I said, I hope that those of you that didn't get to watch this live, I hope that you're able to download the film and watch it, with the audio turned up, in the comfort of your own home. And you can, listen to my commentary on the film as you go along. Or, you may prefer to watch it first without me talking through it, especially if it's your first time watching. I should have said that at the beginning. But I would hope if you miss this live stream that you do go ahead and download the movie so that you can watch it with or without my commentary on it. So Cass is once again seeing the images of creepy little Warren with flames coming in front of his face. And there is Graham looking very suspicious outside the house. And what we figured out is Cass's aunt, the person that she believed to be her father is her father. Stephen is her father, but um, the woman she thought was her mother is not her mother, it's her aunt. And we're going to find out, you know, slowly but surely that Jill was Cassandra's real mother. And um, one of the darker secrets of the family is that Stephen was having a incestuous relationship with his sister Jill. Um, and apparently, not only was Cassandra a product of that relationship, but apparently Warren um, may have been too. Um, Cassandra's at her friend's place once again. He's, once again taking care of her. And we're down to about the last quarter of the film. And although the pacing is really good, in my opinion, in this film, um, it's going to pick up the pace here. I've noticed something about Cassandra's hair here. It looks like they may have filmed some of this at different points in times. It almost seems like she has a different hairstyle there. And as if Graham wasn't suspicious enough, he's making himself seem even more suspicious here. Um, Gang, I'm going to step away. For those of you that are watching along, please continue to watch along, and I will return. Sorry to keep having to go away. Okay, I'm back again, gang. I think I saw Stephen just get taken out there. Um, and I know this may be a little confusing to those of you that are watching the film because it appears that Graham took Stephen out. But Graham's not going to be the main killer. I will tell you guys and gals that. So Cassandra's seeing Little Warren and he's disappearing and reappearing. And he's calling her Cassie. He's saying, Cassie, Cassie. So Cassandra's once again driving up to the house that she keeps seeing in her dreams and her visions. Sorry, gang, for eating on the stream, but I felt like I needed a little something. So Cassandra's friend has shown up. And she's called and asked her aunt to come to where she's at. And the cop's like, hey, where are you going? So the cop's like, you're going with me. You're not going to go by yourself. So we now figured out that Cass's friend is really her brother, Warren. And he's talking about how evil Jill and Stephen were for having a incestuous relationship and for Jill, you know, getting pregnant that way and, giving birth to a child. I'm not really sure why she went back and let him tie her up like that, but perhaps maybe to distract him from killing her aunt. This doesn't appear to be good. Oh, well, I found Graham. So Helen, Cassandra's aunt, is trying desperately to untie her. But Warren is there with a gun, which is not good. And if I'm remembering correctly, I think that they had sent Warren away because he was bad, evil, and apparently he either escaped or was let out. So the cop was only knocked out during the car accident. Oh, damn. So Warren just axed the cop there. So he lets out this horrible scream, and Cass shoots him. But in typical horror movie fashion, Warren is still, dragging himself towards her. And he's pointing his large gun at her. And so she shoots him again. And then Cass is going to pour gasoline all over Warren here. Seems sort of gruesome, even though Warren is a evil person. He doesn't even seem to care that she's doing this, though. And then he allows himself to be lit on fire from the fireplace. He knew he had gas on him. Um, and so apparently, the cop's not dead, and Helen manages to get both of them out of the house, Cassandra and the cop. And we see Warren walking in typical horror movie fashion towards the door of the house. He's on fire. And then the house starts to explode. And we see Cass waving to Helen. I think Brink's having a dream back there. And she's seeing Warren, the adult Warren, there in the mirror. But when she turns around, she doesn't see him. And it was almost like that's the only shot of the movie that kind of bothers me. That last shot of Warren coming towards the mirror, the glass, and then it just breaks, and um, you don't see um, you don't see anything else, and that's basically where the movie ends. Now, I don't know if that was by design or something happened and they had to end it that way. Um, but that's the only part of it that really bothers me is the end. But all in all, a decent little slasher film to come out of Australia in the late 80s. But like I said, that was when the slasher film really started to wane a little bit. Um, so this came along at probably a bad time, and that may have been one of the big reasons why, the more I think about it, why it did not go to theaters and instead went direct to video. Because slasher films were on the downward slope at that point. We had already had the golden age of slashers, and 1987, 88, although there were a few at that time period, they still weren't cream of the crop like they used to be. Um, and people weren't quite as interested in seeing them. So, although I believe this one to be one of the better ones of the late 80s, it probably suffered a lot from um, people not just not being as interested in the slasher film at this point in time. But we are almost to the end of the credits, and I want to thank those of you that popped in and out of here, and for Gory Tiger getting in the chat and saying what's up. I appreciate all of that. And I did see a few of you popping in and out as the time went on. Um, and I hope that those of you that didn't get to watch this live tonight will get to watch it, on the replay. And please, go to archive.org and download the movie. There may be somebody or several somebodies that actually own a copy of it. But like I said, it's kind of hard to come by nowadays. I don't think. I mean, I think there's a German DVD, which I think is where this rip came from. But here in the United States, I don't think DVDs or Blu-rays, especially, were readily available for this film. I believe at one time I may have had a VHS of it. And then, of course, Steve downloaded me a copy at one time last year, and I believe it was last year. And I watched it maybe one or two times. And then when that one hard drive went kaput, so did that movie. So, and once again, I'd like to thank everybody that stopped in at any point in time during this watch along for Cassandra. And for this edition of Childhood Nightmares, since there doesn't seem to be anybody in here right now, I think I'm going to call it a night, do a few things, and then get settled down for the night. But as always, I'm off like a dirty shirt. This shirt ain't dirty, but I'm off like one. And I want to remind everybody, as I always do before I get off of here for the night, to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. Have a fantastic rest of your Friday night, folks. It's Memorial Day weekend. Let's live it up, folks. And, have some backyard barbecues and spend time with family and friends and all that good stuff. And I will see everybody next time.